Social shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, this some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only a few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing blessed and I hope you are all doing well. So today we are here to take a look at the ultimate centre back. There have been a lot. There have been a lot of very, very good centre backs over the years. Listen, I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about, you know, Maldini, Nesta, Jon II, Carvalho, Piqué, Puyol, Ferdinand, Vidic, Van Dijk, Sergio Ramos. You know, there's so many top elite centre backs, you know, over time. But I guess really the kind of question is, you know, especially, you know, with today's day and age, with how football is, you know, being played and stuff like that, different era, of course, all the players of yesteryear, they will always tell you, listen, look, if I played in this era, I would be, you know, amazing, you know, depending on, you know, the position and stuff like that they played. Some say, hey, listen, look, I wouldn't last 2 seconds in this kind of era because of how quick and, you know, how more meticulous the game is today and stuff like that. But I guess one of the things I look at, or one of the things that I think about, is who would be considered, you know, the ultimate centre back. Like, if you had to build a centre back, like what player fits that mold perfectly? And to be honest, I feel, and again, I could be wrong, but I feel like there's only really one player who, if you had to build a centre back, it would have to be this guy. And that is, of course, the man you guys saw on the thumbnail, and that's Virgil van Dijk. You know, for me, and again, just personally, and, you know, having watched football since, you know, the mid-90s and, you know, seeing all those kind of centre backs, and of course there are the ones from the 80s, the 70s, the Beckenbauers, you know, all of these kind of guys who, of course, within their own right, within their own era, and for those who have seen these kind of players, they can, of course, put them into conversations. But I just look at Virgil van Dijk, and for me, he would be considered the ultimate centre back. If I had to build a centre back, it would have to be Virgil van Dijk. You're talking about a player, you know, who absolutely pivotal, you know, for his football club, for his national team, you know, the Netherlands. But, you know, when we're looking at it from, you know, the club aspect, and, you know, him joining Liverpool from Southampton, you know, at the time, the most expensive, you know, defender ever at that period of time, you know, £80 million, you know, that's a lot of money to, you know, to spend on someone who hadn't got the, would I say, somewhat European recognition, so to speak, in terms of wasn't winning Ballon d'Ors, or, you know, wasn't, you know, winning Premier Leagues and winning Champions League. Like, this is a guy who came through, you know, playing for Groningen, then, of course, moving on to Celtic, then moving on to Southampton thereafter, and then, of course, moving, you know, to Liverpool. You know, of course, moving to Liverpool, you know, the stature of the club, where the club was kind of at as well, especially with 𝐬𝐭𝐴 Klopp, you know, in charge for a couple of years now. You know, the team heading in the right direction, you would say, you know, trying to get into that top 4, you know, trying to kind of just challenge again, you know, after spending so long in the wilderness. But when he came in, he made the dream a bit more believable. I'll tell you that much. From the moment he came in, you know, even in that season, you know, Liverpool getting to the Champions League final, you know, it would be, you know, of course, a sign of things to kind of come, you know, for Liverpool. As I mentioned, you know, of course, listen, you lose in the final against Real Madrid, they're the best team in the world. You're not really going to be too downhearted, of course, especially with the context of the game. But as I said, it was a sign of things to come, and to be honest, from there, he's just gone from strength to strength, and he is now, you know, being put into these conversations of, could this be the best ever centre back? Could this be the ultimate centre back? You know, finishing so close to winning the Ballon d'Or, you know, in 2019, you know, only really losing out to, you know, Lionel Messi, you know, alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, this is the levels that, you know, Van Dijk was achieving. And to be honest, this was still the early part, you know, of his career, you know, at Liverpool. You know, we were only just really seeing the beginning, you know, the kind of impact that he is inevitably going to leave at Liverpool. You know, that's going to be everlasting. Of course it will. But, you know, we're not going to know that until he finally does leave. And I think once he does leave Liverpool, unless, of course, there are other centre-backs out there, you know, in the future and, you know, stuff like that, I think you're going to notice it absolutely massively, you know, in terms of how Liverpool defend, how they play, you know, what they actually look like with Virgil, you know, without a Virgil van Dijk. I think it's going to be very interesting. But we're talking about a player who, you know, outside of Fabio Cannavaro, you know, who was obviously the last defender to actually win a Ballon d'Or, you know, 2006, you know, I don't think many centre-backs have come that close. You know, of course, like I mentioned, we've had some really, really good ones down the years, but I don't think any have come so close to the point that people are thinking there's a conspiracy, you know, as to why Virgil van Dijk, you know, didn't win, you know, the Ballon d'Or, you know, for that year, because they felt that, you know, his performances throughout that year warranted, you know, him actually winning it. And again, this isn't even Liverpool actually winning, you know, the Premier Leagues, and we're not a team, you know, at that period of time who were consistently doing much, you know, at that period of time. We were still kind of building. But the fact that his performances were looked at, you know, across Europe and across the world as, you know, this guy, he has to be in, you know, in these kind of conversations because of just how good he actually is. Kind of, you know, it speaks volumes. Now, like I said, listen, all the other top centre-backs that we've seen down the past, Sergio Ramos, you know, Piqué, Puyol, Maldini, Nesta, Bonucci, Chiellini, you know, there's so many I could, you know, rifle off here. I think that, listen, they've all got, there's reasons as to why you could call these guys, you know, the best centre-backs, you know, of all time, for whatever reason. I just think attribute-wise, you know, when it comes to Virgil van Dijk, that's why I feel like he would be, in my eyes, considered, you know, the ultimate centre-back. You know, I mean, this is a guy who at Celtic was taking free kicks and slapping it top bins, you know, so clearly, you know, this is a guy of many attributes. But I think one of the most important things I think about, and you guys would have seen, you know, from the names that I just listed there, all absolutely top, phenomenal centre-backs, they were all partnerships. They were all centre-backs who, they were good partnerships and they both complemented each other. With Virgil, I don't really see that. With Virgil, he's kind of a standalone. Doesn't matter who partners him, whether it's Joe Gomez, Joel Matip, Konate, Jarell Quansah, you know, Matthijs de Ligt, you know, with the Netherlands. It really doesn't actually matter because he himself will always shine, always shine. The others inevitably, you know, will look better, you know, standing next to him, of course, because of how, you know, great he actually is. But he himself, it doesn't really matter who he's paired with. He just always seems to perform, you know, at this, you know, fantastic and high level. And that's one of the reasons, you know, I look at him and just think he's almost a standalone. And to say that these guys are not, of course, standalone defenders, but I'm sorry, but the fact that he's played with so many different centre-backs, you know, throughout the years and still maintains this, you know, this elite level, you know, and again, not playing necessarily always for, you know, the best team or the best national side, you know, at the times, you know, during, you know, his kind of career, you know, it kind of speaks volumes. I just think what we're witnessing, you know, with Virgil van Dijk, for me, he is the ultimate centre-back, and I think that he does stand at the top, especially, you know, if we're looking in the last like 20 years. For me, he has everything. He's got the build, he's got the stature, he's got the pace, he's got the strength, he's got the, you know, defensive awareness, he's got the passing ability, the free kick taking ability, the shooting ability. You know, he looks like players do not even want to come up against him. You know, in matches, they always try to avoid him, you know, in terms of these 1v1 battles. You know, honestly, I just think that we are looking at potentially, and in my opinion, probably the best ever centre-back. But of course, as always, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Are there better centre-backs throughout time that you guys have seen? you know, and tell me what is it about those centre backs that make them better than Virgil van Dijk. And please do not include trophies. Thank you.